I would like to first to thank to Omics Group for the invitation me to come here and present our work. And the title is Nutrient Intakes According to Eating Patterns and Nutritional Status for Older People. The feeding plays a fundamental role in the promotion, maintenance, and recovery of health. With aging, the food security becomes more frequent due to factors which limit the consumption of food and nutrients. Among them are psychological, oral cavities changes, economic, psychosocial, mobility restriction, and other factors. Added to this factor, the nutritional transition due to the changes in dietary patterns and physical inactivity brought great impact on health and nutrition status for the elderly. The main focus of nutritional epidemiology at the present moment has been to study the chronic diseases as obesity, diabetes, and heart disease associated with the conditions of development and modernity. In Brazil, epidemiological studies on food consumption of the elderly are increasing due to concern about the changes in dietary pattern and the high prevalence of chronic non-communicable diseases in this age group. In order to evaluate the consumption, we apply a food frequency questionnaire to evaluate the usual intake using a long-time information from a list of food. It's usual to get data from FFQ to obtain eating patterns, but we can also get information about nutrient intakes. In the literature, there is a lack of studies that make these two approaches, nutrient intakes and eating patterns. So, the aim of this study was to analyze the nutrient intakes according to the dietary patterns and nutritional status of older people registered in the basic units and family health strategies of Botucatu, São Paulo, Brazil. This is a cross-sectional epidemiological study carried over in my city, Botucatu, in São Paulo, using 172 older people registered in the basic health units. This is a subsample of a previous research carried out with 355 older people in order to evaluate obesity in the population. This is the previous work that we present last week in this conference. Okay, just to situate, here is Brazil. Here is São Paulo, and here is Botucatu. It's 40 kilometers from the São Paulo city, that is the capital of the state, okay? The subsample was randomly selected, and a validate FFQ was applied, and information about food frequency and quantity, the portion size was recorded. Data collection took place from the households in the basic units from March to June of 2011. Also, it was applied a socio-demographic and lifestyle identification questionnaire, and anthropometric evaluation was made. Other variables that we analyzed, it was consumption of alcohol, gender, educational level, marital status, physical activity, income per member. For the FFQ, we analyze and interpret using factor analysis with principal component analysis with varimax rotation to obtain the eating patterns, okay? And the scores of these patterns were obtained, and we divide intertiles with low adherence of the pattern, the first one, the second and the third for moderate and high adherence to this pattern, okay? Obesity was evaluated as general obesity and abdominal obesity, considering BMI greater than 30, and for abdominal obesity, 88 centimeters for women, and 102 centimeters for men for waist circumference. Okay, these criteria follow the recommendation of the World Health Organization. The data from FFQ were transformed in nutrient intake. In the following way. FFQ contains information about frequency of food consumption, daily, weekly, monthly, and annually. Number of times of consumption, portion size, small, medium, large, extra large. With this information, we calculate the food intake daily, okay? just multiplying the frequency and the portion size divided per number of days. This calculation transforms the information of FQ in daily consumption for each food. Then we calculate the amount of nutrient based on 100 grams of each food, like this. Nutrient in the food is food intake times amount of nutrient divided by 100 grams of each food, okay? Just for an example, for example, if you want someone consume soup 2 times a week in a small portion. To calculate energy, we consider the small portion, that is 75-85 grams. The food intake is 2 times a week. We multiply this portion per 2 divided by 7. This is grams a day. Amount of energy of the soup is 4671 kilocalories. In energy, we just multiply, divide by 10, because this is for 100 grams, okay? With this calculation, this calculation was made for each food, in the list considering all the information about frequency, number of days, portion size, and amount of nutrients, okay? We add all of this information to get the consumption of this of each nutrient, all right? All information about the size, portion, and amount of nutrient in 100 grams of food was developed by the nutrition department at the University of São Paulo, okay? The public health school at the University of São Paulo. This is not mine, okay? I just used the data from them. This is a very long calculation. I construct a routine in SAS. This is a software for statistical analysis to transform all this data of the FQ from FFQ in nutrient intakes. In this work, we analyze only some macro and micronutrients considered important for older people, right? Mean intakes of the nutrients are compared using a generalized linear model with gamma distribution because the data is so asymmetric, considering sex, general obesity, central obesity, and tertiles of eating patterns. Total energy was included in the analysis as a confounding variable. Okay. All analyses were made in this software, SAS, for Windows, version 9.4. This study was approved by the Ethics Committee at the Medicine School in Botucatu, São Paulo. Results. Some characteristics of our elderly. There was 46.5 male and 53.5 female. The mean age is 79.5. Per capita income family was around $500. Prevalence of general obesity was 21.5% in men, 25% in women. Prevalence of abdominal obesity, 60% in men, 66.3 in women. The 6 patterns was identified using the information of FFQ. They are, we name it healthy foods, the first one, which include some vegetables and some grains and fish and oats and olive oil. The second one, we named snacks and weekend meals. That means hamburgers, nuggets, pizzas, pancakes, desserts, candies, fried potatoes, and manioc. The third one, we named fruits, avocado, guava, papaya, apple, and other fruits. The fourth one is light and whole food, low fat, non-fat milk, whole bread, natural juice without sugar, or olive oil again. The fifth one, we named mild diet. That is cooked potatoes, soup, bread rolls, whole milk, carrots, and polenta. Traditional, the sixth one is traditional diet. That is very traditional in Brazil. This is white rice, beans, lettuce, and tomatoes, okay? This is the common pattern in Brazil, right? As I told you, we got the consumption scores. and divide them in tertiles, classifying low, moderate, and high, depending on the adherence of the pattern, okay? Now, we get the macro and micronutrients intake adjusted by energy according to sex. So we have here the mean and standard deviation for each nutrient we calculate here, okay? And we observe that there is the most of them, there are no difference, statistically different from sex, from male and female. Just this one, retinol, iron, manganese, and alcohol. The consumption for males is much more than females. Table 2 shows us adjust for the macro and micronutrients, just for energy according to sex and general obesity, obese and non-obese for female, and obese and non-obese for male. In this case, we have more consumption, more mean consumption of phosphorus for male, selenium for female, and alcohol again for obese. Obese male, here obese female. Okay. In this case, phosphorus, for example, is some cereals, food, animal origin, and soft drinks, and alcohol. Now, we have macro and micronutrients just for energy according to sex and central obesity. In this case, we have total fat for obese, protein, vitamin D, and selenium for female, obese female. These are significant difference. And for male, total fiber with vitamin E, magnesium, selenium, manganese, and alcohol. Okay, this is for central obesity. Now we can see the difference for the macro and micronutrients, just for energy, according to healthy pattern. This is the first one, okay? Here we have for female, low and moderate and high adherence. Here for males. We have here lots of difference, significant difference for example, in protein. This is a healthy pattern. We have more protein here, greater mean of total fiber here, retinol, folate, vitamin E, vitamin B12, phosphorus. Okay, this is for female and almost the same for male. Okay, so this is, we have protein, fiber, phosphorus, manganese, sodium, potassium, retinol, folate, copper, vitamin B12, and vitamin E for men and women with high adherence to this pattern. Okay, this is something expected. The result is expected once foods in this pattern are ones of animal protein and plants. Okay. When we have snacks and weekend meals, we have more consumption, more mean intake in the low pattern, in the low adherence for vitamin C, for female and male, and vitamin E, vitamin B12, magnesium, iron, and manganese for males, okay, for men. Well, this is something not expected, okay? No foods in this pattern are expected because vitamin C and retinol is quite difficult in this pattern, okay? Also, men with high adherence to this pattern had low intake of mean calcium and vitamin B12. Even this part is represented by food animal origin, but they may not a good source of calcium and vitamin B12, right? Men with high adherence to this pattern have great intake of magnesium, iron, folate, and manganese. Probably this happened due to the consumption of food like cereal and pasta, okay? Because this is fortified with folate in Brazil and characterize this pattern, right? To the pattern fruits, we have here also something unexpected for that more consumption of saturated fat for female, total fiber here for male, magnesium, sodium, selenium, manganese, and alcohol. Okay. So women with high or moderate adherence to this pattern had great intake, mean of saturated fat and selenium. Men with high adherence to the pattern have greater mean of sodium and lower intake of fiber, magnesium, and manganese compared with the low adherence. This is also is a not expected result for fruit patterns. In a previous work, we found association in this pattern in general obesity. Then we can suppose that there is a preference of fruits, but also exists consumption of another type of caloric or fat food. This is just an inference, okay? Besides, we cannot discard the possibility of the report of this caloric and fat food once FFQ is susceptible to this sort of bias, right? For the pattern light and whole food, we expect more fibers, vitamin C, retinol, vitamin B12, okay, and potassium, right? This is okay. Men and women with high adherence to light and whole meal pattern has great intake mean of total fiber, vitamin C, and potassium. Women with high adherence pattern have greater intake mean of retinol and vitamin B12. This is expected once light and whole meal are a good source of fiber, vitamin C, and potassium, right? Now, for the mild diet, we just have carbohydrates for male and protein for female. This is expected also, okay, because this pattern is made of potatoes and soups and very soft food, okay? For the traditional, we have carbohydrates for male, vitamin D, folate, vitamin B12, iron, selenium, copper, and added sugar for males, okay? Women with high adherence to the traditional pattern has greater intake mean of vitamin D. Men with high adherence to this pattern had greater intake mean of fiber, iron, folate, copper, manganese, and lower mean intake of vitamin B12, right? Adherence to this pattern may provide a higher supply of nutrients that are important for adequate nutritional status of elderly people. Well, just some fine considerations. In the present work, the proposal of detail each nutritional component for each eating pattern expanded the observed impact sense of this pattern in obesity. In a general way, the expected results corroborate with the characteristics of each pattern. It was observed that the majority of evaluated nutrients after adjustment for energy, no significant difference was found between men and women, obese and non-obese. This suggests that for these outcomes and other factors are influence the nutrient intake. Related to the difference of nutrient intake for each level of pattern adherence, a coherent analysis was observed, enabling a better characterization of feeding behavior. The results found here added to the heterogeneity of eating patterns because it's possible the use of this work in the future research in order to evaluate the level of nutrient intakes and the tendency of risk for obesity in older people. Okay, these are some references that we use, and thank you.